American Pinball is going out of business. Jersey Jack Pinball has a fire sale. Stern Pinball's contracting with Dutch Pinball. This and more on the Johnny Pinball Show.
It's a fire sale.
Hey, we don't know that yet.
Yeah, it's a myth anyway. It can't be done.
Oh, it's a myth? Really? Please tell me she's only here for show and she's actually not in charge of anything.
What's a fire sale?
It's a three-step systematic attack on the entire national infrastructure. Okay, step one.
The Pinball Fire Sale. The prophets and oracles in the pinball universe have been predicting this since the fall of Williams. Once we rode high after Stern's success in the aughts and 2010s, the prices must come down, but then COVID happened, and the prices went to the moon like Dogecoin, and we were all making money. Stern decided to double or triple their capacity by switching factories. Jersey Jack upped their game price $2,500, and American Pinball's hubris launched Galactic Tank Force. But is that all coming to a crash these days? Well, Nap Arcade's reporting that Replay Arcade's reporting that Jersey Jack is reporting at the IAPA show that operators can receive $2,500 off a slow-moving Jersey Jack game. That's The Godfather, that's Guns N' Roses, that's Toy Story. What's up, everyone? I am Johnny Pinball, and thank you for tuning in to the Johnny Pinball Show tonight. Fire Sale makes me think of Pitbull's song, Fireball. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, that's Jersey Jack, right? They're doing $2,500 off for people who are operators. I'm not an operator, so I don't get $2,500 off, or do I? I mean, it is a global market. If operators are getting them cheaper, you know they're flipping them if they can make a buck, or they're putting them on location for a few weeks, then selling them when they're done, which lowers the secondhand price, which lowers the price for you. Sucks if you already own one of these games, especially if you bought at the peak, like right when they're released, and you paid full MSRP. Speaking of MSRP, I believe these all retail for $12,000, and for some reason GNR retails for $11,000. For the average American, not cheap. That's about the budget I have for a car right now. If you followed the show since the beginning, I've said I need a new car. That's still true. Still haven't pulled the trigger yet, but that's what I'm looking for in a car, $12,000. Or I could get a Jersey Jack LE. It's a luxury good. We know that, of course, but maybe if you're new to pinball and you just found this video by chance, yeah, they cost that much. They're not like $500 like an arcade one up. But, I haven't been around since the Williams days, too young to be following pinball then, but I've been following it since about 2018. So I followed it up to the top, like a lot of new people in the hobby. So this is the first time I'm seeing manufacturers actually discount their product, which finally, it makes sense. When things aren't moving, you got to put incentives, you got to put rebates. So I'm going to go over Stern, Jersey Jack, and American Pinball and what they're doing to try to sell you their games. Jersey Jack, as we saw from Nap Arcade, they're taking $2,500 off for just operators. They don't want to dilute the brand yet for the collectors, but if it's discount for thee, it'll be discount for me eventually. Backdoor deals, those happen all the time. And I think some distributors are kind of challenging Jersey Jack, like, hey, I'm stuck with hundreds of $1,000s of product I can't move. I don't care what our license agreement says. I'm going to sell it for less. There's some websites, if you Google Guns N' Roses LE, that have them listed for $9,000. So that's $2,000 already off the MSRP for anyone, not just operators. And the problem JJP has versus a Stern Pinball is they really only make one game at a time. So all their eggs right now are in the Avatar basket. Review coming. Stay tuned. And if the Avatar isn't a hit like they think it can be, what do they have in the hopper? Actually, now that I think about it, what isn't discounted on that list? Elton John. And rightfully so. Elton John is a phenomenal game, and Steve Ritchie's probably single-handedly holding Jersey Jack together. Well, besides the Abbas family investors, which have all the money, so technically they're holding it together. But because of Steve's Elton John, they don't have to discount every game they're selling. So will this strategy work? Bail out Jersey Jack Pinball? Probably not. This is like a short-term strategy. Their goal is just to clear out the old stock. Assuming they can do that, then they're hoping they can just, what they call it, right size their next production run and not make so many, not make 5,000 LEs of Guns N' Roses. It was a fun game, and when that game launched, the hype was real. So I understand why they sold so many, but then they overproduced. They overshot, too many in boxes, and here we are today. Godfather, I don't know why they overproduced that game. They didn't have much hype when it launched, and people were like, why this game for pinball? So that's, who knows, maybe they had to make 500 just to get discounts on parts. All right, so that's Jersey Jack. Their outlook not looking so good once the holiday frenzy ends. Just imagine what games are going to go for in January and February when there are 0 sales. It's going to be a long wait until tax refund season in April. But they're not the only ones suffering. Next up is our pals at American Pinball. David Fix won't admit it, but he's going to admit it whether he likes to or not. So if you follow Kerry Hardy, he's got some pretty big bombshell rumors at American Pinballs. Had it up to here, if you can see where my hand is. It's at my neck. It's that high. They've had it up to there with David Fix's antics. So that's Mukesh saying that. Mukesh we'll just imagine as like a Mr. Burns type character. And he wants to cut your dental plan. And since they already don't have a dental plan at American Pinball, he's cutting all production of their games. Again, this is the rumor. Until they sell all the Galactic Tank Force Attack Signature Editions. And you know my stance on Galactic Tank Force. I think it's a fun game, but the Signature Edition was just stupid. The price they put on that, and they already have an LE. You don't need a Signature Edition, a Limited Edition, a Deluxe Edition, and a Classic Edition for a niche game. Okay? Too many editions. And this isn't like Cowbell. We didn't want more of it. We wanted just a game that cost a normal amount, not $20,000, David Fix. So they got parts for all these games they didn't make, and they got to get them out of there. They got to have a fire sale on these games. So they're letting go of the Signature Edition for $2,500 off of Galactic Tank Force. Now, they're claiming they're only asking $14,995 original price, and you can get the Signature now for $12,495. But if you remember back then, it was call for price, and some people were told $20,000. So you could say it's depreciated a little more than $2,500, maybe $7,500. And that, what if you already own it? What's it worth secondhand? Oof, I don't want to know. All their other games they still have in stock. They have Legends of Valhalla. They have Hot Wheels. They have Barry O's Barbecue Challenge. And they've got Houdini. In addition to discounts in all their games, they put up some posts saying, hey, you better buy them now because we've retired Oktoberfest and they've retired Houdini. And they've retired Legends of Valhalla. I can understand retiring Oktoberfest. It kind of was always a meh game. But Houdini's kind of, I always thought was their best game until Galactic Tank Force. And it's probably been a decent seller. But at this point, they're probably sitting on tons of them. And since the game is 8 years old, the demand has all but dried up. Legends of Valhalla, I think expectations were low. And I actually think they sold more than they thought they would. Because that came out at the peak COVID. So that one kind of makes sense that they would retire it because it's a third-party game. They probably have to pay royalties on it, and no sense paying royalties on an original idea. Hot Wheels are keeping around. Well, it's their only licensed theme. Well, what didn't you know? Licenses help sell games. If they really are done, if American Pinball really is done after this holiday season, and I think they'll stick it out at least through the end of this holiday season to try to sell the games at a higher price, I bet all their assets and everything just goes to auction Deep Root style. So you might be able to pick up some of their inventory for dirt cheap. It's going to take a Christmas miracle for American Pinball to survive. Mukesh might have to be visited by 3 ghosts: the pinball past, the pinball present, and the pinball future. And hopefully American Pinball is still in the pinball future. Because for as much as I make fun of them, I do appreciate they make something different in the hobby. Speaking of the people who don't make things different, Stern Pinball. So they haven't really discounted their games, but inventory's piling up. And so far, they really haven't had to drop their prices. You've seen fractures in the glass. So lately, they've been giving a free playfield if you purchase a new in-box game. So that's like a $300 value. Not really that much off. And of course, Ermagersh. And of course, Stern always offers free shipping where the competition does not. So that's a little bit of a competitive advantage. And Stern also has the ability to turn off and on popular games. Hello, Metallica remake. But the latest rumor from Canada's Pinball Podcast is they are going to be helping Dutch Pinball make Back to the Future as a contract manufacturer is something new for modern Stern. Sure, they started off the Medieval Madness run for CGC all those years ago, but when was the last time they helped out a competitor make games? I think that giant factory needs something on the line at all times, and it might come down to the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And Dutch Pinball is such a small company, and they passed, Stern Pinball that is, on the Back to the Future theme, and that's just a juggernaut theme. So what do you guys think? Do you think the market is actually going to crash significantly? Not a free play field and you buy the game anyway. I'm talking thousands of dollars off the MSRP of these games. Is it finally coming? We're at the 1-year anniversary of my pinball market crash video. Did I jump the gun when I released that last year? Is this the year the market's actually going to collapse? You know what they say. Wait and see. And wait and see we shall. Well, that's all I got on this topic, and since you made it this far in the video, why don't you like this while you're here and subscribe if you haven't done so already. If you're not subscribed, you may have missed out my prior video, Barrio's Barbecue Challenge. I had a lot of fun making that one, so make sure to check that out. Avatar video in the pipeline, Spooky Pinball releasing a new game at the end of this year, well, we'll see. And maybe even American Pinball has one more game before they go under. Cuphead, they're saying. All that and more on the Johnny Pinball Show. I'll see you on the next one. Later.
Give me some quarters. I'm doing my laundry.
Another winter day.